Hi guys, welcome back to the Improvement Season podcast. It's me, Steve Hall, and on the other end is Magic Mike Challis, who just showed he has improved shoulder mobility and strength because, yeah, it's all the way overhead. Look at that.
Not
How's it going, Mike?
bad. Although it's not pure flexion as such, so I am kind of hiding it a little bit, but it's getting better. We're getting there.
It's in the frontal plane. Can you get it?
Do you want to
More
see?
so in the scapular plane and
Ready? So rock Lee, first of all. So if pure flexion, that's what I'm getting. Wait.
For those who are listening, which might be, I don't know if it's the majority of you. Actually, no, I think most people watch. Mike can't quite get his arm overhead, but the injury is improving.
It's improving, indeed. So, and it was quite nice because I had a kind of catch up with one of my colleagues in the physio clinic, and they just gave me a bit of extra things that I can work on, which is just nice because, like we've kind of talked about before, I think just having a plan and having things that you can do, which just make, more than anything, just make you feel like you're doing everything that you can to help the process. It just gives you that extra little bit of mental motivation. So that was quite nice.
Having a plan for a particular goal that you really care about, and the value in that cannot be understated. So when something happens where the plan you originally had now can no longer be adhered to, like, it really rocks the boat because you feel really lost. And so then if someone can give you, I can't think of an example where it's happened to me, but I've definitely had it happen to me where someone gives me a plan and I'm like, oh, now I feel productive again. Now I have something to focus on. So whenever it actually happened with you, right, this kind of came out of the blue and I was like, hey, I want to turn around a training program for you as soon as possible because I know how important it is to have that there, because if you don't, you're thinking all the thoughts. I just had it with another client where he needed to modify some stuff and I was just like, hey, I'll get you across the new plan as soon as possible. And he basically emailed me as soon as he saw it live and was like, this is amazing. I'm so excited to get back into the gym and everything. And yeah, it can't be understated. If people don't have plans for things, there's probably other areas in life I could certainly do with having a plan. And bodybuilders, we love plans. Unless you are, what's the word? Why can't I think of the word where you'll just do something out of the blue?
Spontaneous?
That's the one, spontaneous. I don't imagine many bodybuilders are that spontaneous. I don't know. I don't get that vibe from bodybuilders.
I would class maybe Alberto Nunez as a bit of a spontaneous bodybuilder, but I don't know if that's wrong at all.
I don't know him well enough to be able to put it on there, but there's just so many behaviors required for bodybuilding that require non-spontaneity that make being spontaneous tough. Like you think about routine, structure, doing the same things day in, day out. Not to say you can't do that in a spontaneous, it's just hard. It's like, I always talk about this with clients, you'll know this, like the circadian rhythm. Our bodies just love doing the same things at the same time, eating at the same time, sleeping at the same time, training at the same time. It prepares itself to be in the best position to do these things. And that's where spontaneity takes you away from that kind of very fruitful routine, like snowball effect that you get going.
Definitely. I liken it to physio because there's been so many times when, do you know what? I've actually done very little, but all I've done is I've listened, I've reassured, and I've alleviated that uncertainty about what the injury might be and, you know, what they need to do to kind of manage it. But they walk out and they're like, I feel so much better. But it's just alleviating that, uncertainty, that lack of a plan. It just can't be understated whatsoever.
Having someone in your corner who you know understands and then can like give you sympathy in some way and give you guidance, the benefit of that can't be understated. Actually, it's funny. I literally listened to Mike and Dan from Business and Banter. Some of the listeners might know those guys. They used to be online coaches, and they're now like business mentors. I would put them at like near the top of, if people were to ask me for a recommendation for business mentors, they would be those, because they've been there, done that, and they've got a fantastic business. They just did I listened to it today, a YouTube video on like AI taking over kind of coaches' roles, and it was so funny. I just had a client check in now. I haven't gone back to him just yet. But I was just thinking about what my reply is going to be, because I've already modified the spreadsheet and made the changes and adjustments that we need for the next weeks. And there is none. Just continue to follow and execute the plan. But I think my update, and I was thinking, like, I don't need to do anything but reassure him that I'm here. If he needs anything, he can reach out to me, and that he's doing a great job, and to keep leaning into the behaviors that are setting him up for success. And it's just a case of, he's got me to be accountable to reassure him that things are on the right track, and that he just needs to like double down. And yeah, you'll be surprised you get this, Mike. I've had check-ins with you, Mike, where you're just like, I've literally said probably just that, and you're just like, yes, sir, let's go. Mm-hmm. And it just is enough of a driver to keep going. And that's part of the art of coaching, is listening to those kind of more life circumstance troubles, and kind of being able to be empathetic. I don't know if AI is going to be able to do that super well anytime soon.
Yeah, I think just picking up on your point about not making changes, I think that's so important. I think both from a client perspective, understanding like, hey, not making any changes is absolutely fine and it's a good thing. And also as coaches and as a physio as well, because I can definitely think of times when maybe I've changed an exercise and I didn't need to, and all the patient needed to do was just do some progressive overload. Maybe they just needed to continue bumping up their reps or continuing to increase their load with like a rehab exercise. But again, it's that just balance of like, hey, we don't need to change anything because everything's going really well. You're nailing it. Keep it going. And like, hey, that's an awesome check-in.
So for you, Mike, what is your update for this week? Where are you with things?
My update is, good question. So I would say that range of movement has improved a little bit from do you mean update in just generally?
Mike, just generally everything, life, what is going on in Mike's world, what's happened over the last week?
Well, I wanted to tell you and the listeners about something. So first off,
whatever comes to mind. Yeah, there, go for it.
I found the comments about the coffee hilarious. It was so
brilliant.
Yeah. And I do feel that, I haven't got an excuse with a 10-minute car journey anymore. And obviously our man Richard in the comments, who said like, Mike, you should so spend coffee, and he spends like 4,000 Australian
he worked
dollars
out. He mathed it. Never math it out, Richard. It's like I did on air. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't like knowing about this.
Yeah, but no, I love that. But one thing that I also wanted to say was that last Friday was the gym was closed between 9 and 2 o'clock. And I thought, do you know what? I'm not going to go to the gym in the morning, and I'm going to actually take a leaf out of your book. And because I had this spare Monster in the fridge, and I was like, do you know what? I haven't had a Monster in ages, and it's just sitting there not doing anything. I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to get to work and just sip on the Monster. And it was great. And so I'm now contemplating
There's spontaneity for you guys.
I know.
I had a Monster in the fridge, and I drank it.
This is huge. This is huge. So what I've done now is basically I've now bought a big box of Monsters.
Oh, we've started something here.
Yeah. So it could be I'm toying with changing my routine on a Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, I guess that's similar to me with my like Friday coffee treat, as it were. And I know actually tomorrow I'm going to the vets with Ada, and so I have to train first thing and everything. So I'm going to have my Monster, but I'm not going to have time for a coffee. So I got that today. I walked to the coffee shop, got my coffee today. And I think actually there's something about, I will say this, probably I need to take this point for myself with the Monsters, but with the coffee, because I don't have it every day, when I do go and get it, it's a little bit more special. And I enjoy that routine. But on the note of Monsters, have you tried the Lando Norris flavor? I already feel like I know the answer. Yeah, I thought you hadn't.
But can you just get it from regular supermarkets?
I think it's most places. You've probably seen it but not picked it up. Because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't, but it's there.
Sometimes the color tones, because I think it was like a green and black color tone, and sometimes that just looks like a original Monster or something, so I might have overlooked it.
I tried it for the first time over this past weekend, and it was good. It's definitely, I would almost certainly say it's in a top 5. It's melon and yuzu flavor I looked up. And I do like a melon flavor of Monster, or the rain melon flavor I really like.
The rain?
Yeah, Rain. If you've ever had Rain before, the brand.
No. What is
it's
that?
more US based.
Oh, okay.
But you can get it in the UK. I had that a few times, particularly in Vegas.
Sorry, yeah. When you said rain just then, I was thinking of Rain, not the
Rain.
Crown.
Yeah, the Crown. There you go. Yeah, you can get those. They're in most supermarkets, like big supermarkets. You can normally find those in the energy drink section, but they're a little bit higher in caffeine, so I don't tend to like. They wouldn't be like a. I like that Monster's not crazy in caffeine.
So remind us of your top 5 Monster flavors.
Oh, gosh, I need all the. There's so many flavors now, Mike. There's so many flavors.
So there's peach.
Yeah. So let me go. I don't know if I'm gonna try and order them. Okay, I'll try and put them in. Literally, this is my top 5. So
Okay.
I'm gonna start with number 1 because that's easier for my brain to try and compute. So White Monster is gonna be number 1. It's just the standard. It always hits. It never fails, and it's available everywhere when you like try and go out. Number 2 might be the original, zero though. So it's normally like the original one was like blue M on like black can, but they also do now a green one, like it's a black can with green M on it. Anyway, That's number 2. It's quite contrasting, but I like it as like for whatever reason, it reminds me of like Red Bull, and I always in the past thought of Red Bull as like a massive kick up the arse. I always thought it was like crazy. It was like energy drinks. Oh my gosh, it was my first exposure. So it tastes a bit like Red Bull to me, and so I'm always like, oh, it's such a I'm getting such a hit. So on days where I'm feeling a little bit less energetic, I normally go for that one because I'm just like placebo myself into feeling like I've got even more caffeine and energy. That's number 2. Number 3, it might be Peachy Keen. I think the peach does beat Lando. And then I've got 4 and 5, and the ones that I'm thinking of are watermelon, and then Lando, which is melon and yuzu. So I don't know which one would be 4 and 5. I'm going to put Lando ahead of watermelon, and then watermelon can be 5th. I think that would be my top 5. I don't know if I'm missing any. Do you think of any that you really like that I've not named?
Well, the apple sprung to mind, but the one that I like, which not a lot of people rate, is the pineapple, the gold one.
Oh yeah.
I'm
not that big on that one.
So disappointed. Oh yeah. But I quite like the pineapple. It's decent.
And then there's like the black one, which is like cherry, which I was disappointed by personally. And there's like a purple one, a light blue one.
You've got a mango. There's like a mango one, which is the Fiesta.
Yeah, that's like the light blue one, right?
Is it light blue? Yeah, probably. I think so.
Not that big on that one.
Rosa?
Yeah, also not that big on that one.
No, me neither. No.
And is there an orange one? I feel like there's an orange one.
I think there might be. I can't remember.
People in the comments. We'll want to know your top 5s, or at least your top 3s. And if you disagree with me, screw you.
The thing is, it's so hard to compare because I think this was one thing that we found when we went to New York. Like the energy drink scene is different in the US, I feel.
I think the Monsters taste the same though, right? At least the ones we had
taste the same. There was just more. It felt like there was more variety of different types of energy drinks. Maybe.
I'm not sure. I didn't really. All I did was try and find Ghost.
Yeah,
because those ones bang.
Oh yeah. What was that? Was it the sour apple that we had on the Boston? That was just like it just nailed it. The first one.
Yeah. It took top spot and then it hasn't budged from there. And unfortunately, I don't know if we've talked about this on air. I don't know if you know this, Mike, but Ghost has come to the UK, the energy drinks. They're available in like Pure Gym in their vending machines, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. And it's crazy. Oh my God, they have Ghost energy drinks. It's not that crazy, right? But it feels crazy. And then some websites have them. So like Pit Stop Nutrition, who sponsor the WNBF, they have crates available on site, and I've had one in my basket for like the last 2 weeks, and I just haven't pushed the button because it's like £2 still per can, which isn't terrible when you consider that's less than a coffee would cost. But yeah, they don't have sour apple warheads. If they did, I think I'd buy a crate, but they don't have it. They have the watermelon one.
Yeah.
Which was good, but not quite on that level. So
maybe if we wait, the flavors will soon come.
Yeah, they should do. It's like Halo Top. Do you remember when that first came in the UK? There was like barely any flavors.
Yeah.
And I went out of my way big time to try and get Halo Top. So much so, it was like, I don't know, a 25-minute walk to the Tesco, and it would basically be melted by the time I brought it back to the flat. But I still did that. But yeah, I haven't eaten a Halo Top or any of that for ages. I don't even know if I think it's still around, but it's like £6 a tub or something stupid.
Yeah. It just gets so expensive. It's just not, unless you're, it's, apply your budget in a different way, or you've lots of money. Hey, it's up to you.
I wonder if it could be tax deductible. It's like a supplement.
Maybe.
I'll talk to my accountant.
Yeah.
I always try and find ways. We just had a gardener come because I don't know if you remember, Mike, but our front and back garden, huge mess. And dude, I was talking about how vets make a killing. They made a killing because there was 4 of them. Maybe they took an hour or less, and man, it cost like $500 basically.
Really?
Which is crazy. Yeah, I don't know if that's just normal, but man, gardeners, builders, that sort of thing, I reckon they're raking it in. But I was like, is there a way I can make this tax deductible? It's my house. Can I use my business to like pay for it? No, it's gonna have to come out of my own pocket. Well, it's still my own pocket, but
Was there a lot to do?
Yeah, it was just a mess. It was just like, imagine you haven't had a haircut for like a year, and then it's just like they got to tidy that shit up. It was like that. So it looked way better. It was like we got double the space available. But I was thinking about it. I was like, I probably could have done that myself, but it probably would have taken a whole day on a weekend, and I would have felt like, well, I mean, last time I gardened, I infected my finger. Well, actually, that wasn't the last time, but I did infect my finger that one time. But that's just gloves. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah. Again, there are some things which I just have no problems outsourcing if it's just going to save time, like furniture for one thing. I'm just awful at putting together furniture. It stresses me out. I'm just like, do you know what? I'm just letting someone else do it. And it just, that stress relief is just worth it in my head. So
yeah, time for me is one of the biggest. So if there's been occasions where I'll end up, me and Charlotte will get an Uber, we can split it between us, and then it's like, if it's double the speed of the underground, even if it's double the cost, I'm like, hey, that's more than worth it. So I always, wherever I can save time, so like you said, putting together things, any housework basically, if I can get time back, that's excellent. Any other updates on your end, Mike?
Only I think only one update, which, this could be dangerous sharing, but so I forgot to mention it to you and to everyone else. So basically, I was driving home yesterday, and less than a 2-minute walk from my house, there is a
coffee shop.
I don't know what you'd call it, but it's like a where they sell kebabs from in the UK. It's like a what do you call it?
Just
the
a
name
kebabi?
Like it's
Kebab shop?
like a trailer,
shop?
like a trailer from where people
yeah.
sell foods. So there's a trailer outside my house just selling pizza.
Oh.
And I'm just like, just kind of clocked it, and I was like, there's pizza right outside of my house. I wonder what it's like.
The thing that comes immediately to mind to me is, have you gone onto Google, searched it, found it, and then looked at the reviews and pictures? That's what I'd immediately be doing.
That's what I should do. See, this is good. This is good teaching. That's what I'm going to do.
From the sounds of it, it could be awful if it's like just your typical like shitty pizza, whatever. If it's super cheap and rubbish, like frozen pizzas that they're just like putting in an oven back there. Or if it's, I don't know, artisan comes to mind, like some of those like quirky trailers that do coffee and pizzas, and it's actually quite nice. And there are some around that have, like, there's some pizza businesses that have started that way and then they've become so popular they now have permanent residents in various locations. So yeah, you need to look it up. Do you remember what it's called?
No, but it's easy because it's just like I literally walk outside my house and walk around the corner and it's there.
And the other thing you could do is just try it this weekend. Be spontaneous.
I could be spontaneous.
You can be the N=1 study.
Yeah. Although I've got something else slightly spontaneous coming up. I've got a barbecue tomorrow, so going to a barbecue. So that'll be my hit of spontaneity this week.
Oh, nice. What can I ask? Whose barbecue?
Yeah, it's the so the clinic that I go to. The owner of the clinic.
Did you tell me this already?
I don't think so.
No, I'm not sure if you did. For some reason, I felt like I knew it was going to be with the clinic.
Deja vu.
Yeah.
Psychic. But yeah, the owner of the clinic's just holding a barbecue. So all of us are just kind of going to go there tomorrow afternoon. So that should be fun.
Is it I don't know what the acronym for it is, but is it bring your own meat, or is it he's providing?
They're providing, fortunately.
Oh,
they
cool.
did kind of toy with the idea of everyone making their own thing. And I really wasn't down for that because I'm just like... I was like, I'll just bring a bag of protein powder or something.
Oh dear.
Or like some protein brownies or something. I don't know. Yeah, it wouldn't have
It'd be a good challenge
well.
to make some just like, I don't know, brownies or something, like just different, some cookies, some flapjacks. That'd be fun.
Oh, the pressure I would have felt would have been immense. I would have hated it.
Everyone would have just been like, dude, these are amazing. Just tons of butter, sugar, you're fine.
Oh, that's it. I know. It's crazy. But no, fortunately not. So fortunately it's just turn up and, be social.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that should be fun. But the weather's going to be crazy hot, I think.
And sorry, on that note, I really need to get some more Rascal apparel stuff. Because just in the winter, I don't sweat as much. So I find like you can reuse a couple of t-shirts a couple of times. But at the moment, it's just like
one wear,
and then that's it. And I just don't have enough. And because when I got knocked down, they cut through a lot of my clothes. So, and I don't have a lot of clothes. So if I lose 2 items, that's relatively speaking quite a lot. So
over 20% of the wardrobe's gone.
Yeah. So so I need to stock up a little bit on 2 items or more.
Yeah, definitely do it. Code Stronger if you want to save some moolah. Yeah, the vests just fit super well. I love they're just classics. Like, I don't know if they're called the stringer ones, but the stringer type ones. I can see you in medium to large. It'll just fit super well, and just enjoy that. Summer training, because it's if you haven't got we don't have aircon in our UK gyms generally. It's damn hot. So
yeah, but that's it.
That's all your updates.
Yeah, that's all my updates. Bring us up to speed on how everything went over the weekend and everything.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what I said, but what ended up happening is, it's funny, so it was away for my dad's 70th, I think I said that. So my whole family, like close family, were there. So my sisters, nephews, nieces, everything, they were there as well. And unfortunately, we didn't actually arrive till late on Saturday. That was always going to be the case because Friday we had some things we had to be in town for. But we got delayed on the Saturday largely because of Charlotte, because she works on a different clock to everyone else, put it that way. And the other thing that happened actually was as we were leaving to go get the train, Ada did number 2, totally fine. Guess what was in her number 2? Worms. So I was proper stressing out at this point, like, oh my God, we're already so late. What does this mean? So on and so forth. And we've been talking to our veterinarian about it, and they knew we weren't up to date on some of her treatments, and they were like, that's fine. And I thought there was some element of just like, it's another stress to put on her system to give her these kind of treatments if she hasn't got any problems. But anyway, thankfully, after several phone calls with our like various veterinary practices and things, we had some of the worming treatment at home and we could just give it to her, and then we were on our way. So thankfully it just delayed us like an hour or 2, but that was like, oh goddamn. And it was totally gross to see the worms in the poo. Like I was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this before. So that was an initial kind of stress, but then we got there and it was nice. We went out for dinner. Then the next day would have been Sunday, and we went to like a beach. It was super chill. Went out for some food. I did a bit of swimming in the morning. Actually, I don't know if they call it a gym, but they have like an activity center or leisure center. And I went into the quote unquote gym, and I basically opened the door and walked straight out because I was like, there was literally a bench, dumbbells up to 10 kilograms, loads of yoga, what are they called? Yoga towels, whatever, yoga mats, that's the word, which I guess they do yoga like out on the premises somewhere, and one bike. And I was just like, oh, there's not even a treadmill I can just like, I don't know, warm up on or something. And I was just like, right. I just went into the swimming pool. I did just fucked around, basically, did some lengths, and there was no one else in there. So I was just like jumping around, having a fun time, maybe swam for 30 minutes. And then I was like, man, sauna. Sauna is something I've been learning more and more about, partly due to talking to Greg Potter. If people are interested to learn more about the health benefits of sauna, I definitely would recommend listening to the episodes I've done with Greg on the Revive Stronger podcast. But I just was like, right, let's get in the sauna, let's have some fun. And I know there's multiple health benefits, and it actually gives some of the adaptations that you can get from cardio without doing the strenuous cardio. So you almost get none of the costs with all the upsides. As you all know, Mike, like heat and cold, you kind of want to keep away from your hypertrophy training because it allows for faster recovery, but at the cost of your adaptation. But I was taking this time off, so it was perfect. I'd had a rest day, and then it was like I was taking the next 2 days off the gym completely. So I went and did like 30 minutes in the sauna. Well, I don't know if I was in there 30, maybe 25 minutes. Then like a short break, cold shower, then went back in. And like I said, loads of just known health benefits. I don't think the sauna was hot enough to really have got a lot. Like I didn't feel particularly challenged. And I think you're meant to feel like as you're getting towards that 20-minute plus mark, you should probably feel like, oh, this is pushing me a bit. Like your heart rate maybe is a bit up and elevated. And I did get crazy vascular, which was pretty cool. But the great thing was not having my phone, because obviously you can't, well, I did take in my phone to do a little video and I take a photo. But apart from that, I was like, right, this can't be in here. In fact, I thought I was going to damage my watch because I was like, oh, I completely forgot my watch is on. But yeah, it was just nice having literally like almost an hour of time of just me. I did speak to a couple that came in, but a lot of it was just me on my own, no devices, nothing. And I can't say how nice that was to be kind of forced away from it. I know it sounds bad that I almost found I have to be forced away from it to kind of feel the benefit, but yeah, that was nice. Anyway, so I did that, was just walking around Ada in nature basically, because it's just way quieter. We're in Kent, near Folkestone, and it was a really nice just area that we were in. Now, unfortunately, not to speak too much about this, but because Ada is on the steroids, some of the negative impacts of steroids are like the ones you know about, where attitude becomes a bit of a problem. They get a bit angry. And apparently the steroids peak in the evening. And that basically is when Ada is like all over the shop. She's like, wants more food. Her appetite is the highest. She's just constantly barking at Charlotte almost of an evening. It's getting pretty bad, actually. We're going to talk to the vets tomorrow to see if there's anything we can do about it. I'm not sure there is. But we were worried that was going to happen whilst we were away. And if that did happen, we were like, we're just going to have to leave because it's too much. But thankfully, Ada was actually almost better there. And I think it was just out of not being in a home environment. And there were 2 other dogs there as well. And somehow maybe that helped. They're pretty well behaved. So that all went well. Yeah, had a good time with family, chatting, just like away from work and devices and bodybuilding, like social media type, and deloading also my body. I think I actually benefited a lot from not being in the gym, psychologically more than physiologically, I think. I didn't feel like I needed to have that break, but I think psychologically not having like a 2-hour training session for 3 days was just like a big relief. And then got back late on Monday, and I started my new mesocycle as of Tuesday. So I'm 3 days in, and I have actually changed my split. But I don't know if you have any thoughts on what I've said so far, because I can end up rambling about my split for probably like at least another 10 minutes.
I think it was on that note of, because I remember you mentioned to me in this check-in, which I found in our check-in this week, which I found really interesting, was that you felt that what was it you said? It just you could have done more, but you got a good stimulus, but you could have done more if you wanted to, if that makes sense. I don't know if I kind of remember that correctly.
Well,
with the
within the
first,
training sessions.
yeah, with the first training session I think you had back, which I think was legs. Your first session back, was it?
Ah,
No,
upper body.
upper body. Oh, there you go. I wasn't paying attention, but I can't remember. But yeah, I think you, like you said, you kind of mentally felt a lot better. You know, you felt like you could have potentially done more, but hey, it was a good, you know, you got a great stimulus from it, and you didn't do more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I will say I'm always particularly cautious week one of a mesocycle, especially if you're changing things, because novelty can screw you over. Because the easiest way to get excessive muscle damage that impedes your ability to progress and grow is by doing too much novelty. And because I knew this is a whole change, I'd been running the last mesocycle for like 20 weeks. And a lot of those movements I've had they're in my entire prep in 2024. So I rotated quite a lot of things into this mesocycle. And also exercise order, frequencies changed. So there's a lot of changes. So exactly as you said, I felt this every session that I've done so far this week, where not only have I left maybe a little bit in the tank in terms of reps in reserve, or certainly on some lifts, less so on others, but probably still have. And I've certainly held back a bit on the volume front, just knowing, first of all, that I've increased my training frequency, but also there's quite a lot of new movements in there. So yeah, so far so good though. I'm 3 days in, and I've had like the amount of soreness that you kind of ever want, where it's not overlapping. You feel a little bit of what you trained the day before, but it's not to the where you're like, I'm only so sore that if I was to train, it would basically, as I warm up, dissipate. Whereas, yeah, I've definitely taken it too far. I know I can remember one time I gave myself an exertion headache week one of a new meso, where I did like Bulgarian split squats and I did like Myo reps on them, and I completely fucked myself for like a number of weeks there.
I remember listening to that on the Improvement Season podcast. I remember hearing that. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
it was
that's
bad.
great.
That was not smart. But yeah, the new split, basically, I've just moved back to my upper, lower, upper, lower, upper, lower. That's what I ran for the majority of my previous off season, and it just works super well for me. And the large reason is my volume has just got to the point where I think I was exceeding that point of diminishing returns that we talk about, that PUOS that Jake Remmett spoke about in his meta-analysis, where virtually all my major muscle groups were getting to 10 to 15 sets within a single session. And I just was like, hey, I think I'm better off spreading that between 3 workouts versus 2. But also the length of those workouts were getting pretty long. And I don't know about you, Mike, but I think there's just a point of which where if the session starts getting much longer than 2.5 hours, I just start mentally switching off. It could be that I don't need that amount of time and I could just like be more efficient. But if it starts getting that long, I just start mentally switching off. Even if I could theoretically benefit from more physiologically, psychologically, I'm starting to just be like, oh my gosh, like I've got other things to do today. I need to get this done. And it becomes a bit daunting. So I've changed the split so that on my upper body days, especially on my upper body days, to make them efficient but not sacrifice volume or intensity, I'm doing more unrelated or antagonistic supersets. That does mean sacrificing some exercise variations, i.e. like I'm doing a dumbbell press and then a dumbbell row versus a machine row that I might arguably prefer to do in some instances, but really it's just different. So that's been interesting because I've actually enjoyed that. It's made my sessions more efficient so far for sure. And it just means, I don't know if you find this, Mike, but sometimes when I'm resting in rest periods, like I like it and I like just kind of sitting there, and I don't have that now. And it's kind of like, oh, it just keeps me kind of moving, engaged throughout the workout, which is quite nice. So yeah, so far so good. I'm a bit nervous for if and when the gym gets a bit busier and something I can't get onto, and then that's where it kind of will fuck me in the ass. But we'll cross that bridge as it comes.
Hopefully, though, like you said, like choosing things like, you know, incline dumbbell press into dumbbell row, hopefully that shouldn't affect things too much. So long as, like, you know, if the exercises are, you know, similar to that, I would have said, you would have thought.
Yeah, I've got, like today I did overhead press into a lat pull down. They're in the same room at least, like opposite one another. But if one of those is taken, I'm just like, I'm just going to have to sacrifice the efficiency there. But in a lot of occasions I've chucked in barbell bench press, which I haven't done in the longest time.
Yeah.
But I've always got a good stimulus from it. And it's a good movement. Like I have the Yorkies has a variety of plate loaded machines, but the problem with plate loaded machines is they essentially have the problem that back movements do, where they're hardest in the position that you're weakest. And so, yeah, you could do partials with them, but the barbell bench press is, I mean, it's a bread and butter movement. It has been for a lot of people for years, and I never have had shoulder issues or anything like that. So anyway, it's quite fun, and you can micro load it, which is awesome. So I'm doing that, and then like a one arm row, for example, which that will never be a problem unless someone's using the weight I'm trying to use. So yeah, there's a few situations where I'll always have that time efficiency, unless someone's using the bench, the barbell bench press. But then we'll have to cross that bridge as it comes, like I said.
I think these sorts of things are sometimes awesome. They're just really good opportunities to learn, to see what works, what doesn't work. Maybe even just remind us of, like you said, you come back to the barbell bench press and you're like, I forgot how good the barbell bench press was. You just kind of get those nice reminders about your training. So I think these sorts of opportunities are great. And again, another reason why sometimes every so often just having a little bit of a change can be a good thing.
Yeah, I think we can get stubborn as bodybuilders to like stick to certain movements or whatever we're doing, kind of back to what we said at the beginning. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But sometimes just a little bit of a shuffle can make all the difference. I don't know. It could be that you're enjoying your meals as they are, but you just rotate out the topping that you had on, which was maybe dark chocolate. You put in some nut butter. It's like, oh, now I'm just enjoying that meal a little bit more. You rotate in a different fruit. Just a bit of change sometimes can just make everything kind of just tick over a little bit nicely. And I noticed that I'd been doing that with a bit of my isolation work here or there where things were busy, and I was just like, hey, it's an isolation-based movement. I can just rotate. And I enjoyed that. And also training in some different gyms now and then. And I was just like, often I'd get put off by training in different gyms because of different movement patterns. I can't like standardize things the same way and kind of check progress, but it just felt really good to do it. Like physically, I felt good doing it. And so, yeah, I think there is a point at which you can be too stubborn to hold on to things. So the one movement I'm taking out is the barbell RDL. It's just the SFR's dropping off for me. It's becoming very burdensome. So yeah, I'm going to put in a straight leg deadlift off the floor, which is going to be exciting to kind of progress with that.
Ooh, very exciting.
Yeah.
I just wanted to just add to that last little note. It's always that balance between consistency but not rigidity, and flexibility without being kind of totally all over the shop, whatever that nice word is. And I think if you can always try to kind of like find those middle grounds, I think that's always kind of like a good place to be. Adaptability, being flexible and adaptable without like totally losing all sense of structure and so on. So yeah. And I also just wanted to say, I don't, you're going to find this random, but I'm really vibing with glute training at the moment. I don't know what it is, but like hip thrusts, I just like the glute stimulus was just like wild. And I was like, wow, I'm enjoying this at the moment. So that's something a bit new and novel for me for sure. I think it's because I really, like it's getting to that point now where I've grooved the movement pattern and I found what works. And I'm just like it's just that the SFR has picked up for me for that movement. Cool. And I've noticed that uptick. So it's quite cool, actually.
This is a very detailed note on the hip thrust. But I'd been doing the myo rep style. So like do a set and then breather, do like 2 to 4 reps, breather, 2 to 4 reps, whatever. I just hated it. Whereas this week I was doing 2 sets like that. Whereas now I just was like, do 3 straight sets. Preferred it so much more.
Yeah.
It's funny how little things like that, I was just like, it's just such a burden to have to finish it and then immediately go into some more rounds. And I thought it in theory made sense to me because at least my hip thrust is quite awkward to get into. You have to like redo the belt, loosen it, tighten it every single time. But it's just such a burden anyway, just little things like that are interesting. I'm glad you're liking the hip thrust though.
And I just wanted to finally kind of circle back around a little bit to ask you about this, because you mentioned this in your post and it's not training related. It's more about just taking time away and how it kind of like the last weekend just really inspired you to want to do more weekends like that. And I think that really resonated for me as well. Because I think it is really important. I think for people like us who get very stuck in their routine.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, I feel like every time I go away, I say the same thing. I need to do this more often. A year later, oh, I went away. I need to do this more often. Dude, you haven't gone away for a year. What's going on? And but the thing is, it was actually only, like I said, we went away on Saturday evening or afternoon. We got home Monday evening. So we had one whole day, maybe 2 days, like total. So it wasn't a long time, but it was enough, especially taking it off the gym too. It was enough to really feel like I got a good break. So that was nice. And it's good to do it because I kind of, not that I need to do that, but like I proved to myself I can do it. It's funny, I emailed all my clients being like, oh, I'm probably going to be delayed maybe by a day. And in the end, I was barely delayed with anyone. Like there was probably, like, especially later in the week, I was completely on top of everything. So again, I get nervous about, and I don't want to let anyone down, but it just goes to show when it comes back to what Parkinson's law is it? When you have a certain amount of time to get a task done, you'll take whatever that time is. So if there's less time, you'll just get it done. So yeah, anyway. Yeah, it was good to have the break though. And I do want to do them more often. And it also, I actually am going to look at some locations out of London that are commutable distance to Oxford Street, which is near where Charlotte works. So that potentially we can get out and I can be in a bit, like we can be in a different environment, basically. I just don't, there's no benefit for me being in London at the moment. I just really, there's nothing here that I want. Apart from a coffee shop that's a 5-minute walk away. That's quite nice.
I can imagine there's just so many places, not just UK, but I even just thought then, like, you could literally hop on the Eurostar and then, you know, in an hour, you're like in France or Belgium or somewhere. So it's really possible.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it just takes thinking about it or having someone in your life who's spontaneous or having family that are planners. Like my dad booked this out for his 70th 2 years ago. So yeah, this was, yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's my updates. I think that's everything. I don't think I have anything else.
I love
particularly. No.
Is there any? So I don't have any current affairs because I'm a monk. But has there been any current affairs?
No, I think I actually need to task you with the current affairs every week, and that will force you to be not a monk and spend some time doing, I don't know what you do with all your time, but something different.
Parkinson's law. Who knows? Just stare at the sky. I have no idea.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Mike's just like, I don't know, meditating for 5 hours a day somehow. I actually don't have any. I was trying to think ahead of time, but we spoke about everything last week in regards to like the PCA and kind of bringing that to light with a failed drug test, which I'm interested to see what happens with. Obviously, he appealed, so I'm interested to see if anything happens with that. But apart from that, no, I don't really have anything that comes to mind. Apart from, as we mentioned, the WNBF, the Supernaturals is coming in, what, 5 weeks or something now? So it's not far away at all. And I'm going to be judging at the Supernaturals, which is fun. And I imagine are you confirmed to be helping backstage?
Yeah, so I'll be I imagine the roles would be similar to what I was doing at the First Timers. So kind of hopefully a little bit of shadow judging, I hope, and then helping out backstage as well.
And so I actually have to try and find a gym to train at. I think I found the gym, right? We spoke about it.
You said it's a really good gym.
Yeah, it was sent to me by Finn, I believe, sent me it. And I saw it on his story and I was like, oh, where's that? And so, yeah, that'll be a great gym to actually train at on the Saturday after the show because it should end with good time because it's spread over the 2 days, which is exciting. So, yeah, if anyone's competing at that, exciting, let us know in the comments if you are. I'm hyped for it. I think it's going to be an awesome show. I have some insider knowledge on that show of some things and, yeah, it's going to be cool. I can't speak about it publicly. I can tell you off air probably, Mike.
But I think it would just be great. I think one thing that I think the WNBF always do is they're always great at leveling up every time. Like every time there's just a small improvement. And I'm really excited for it as always.
Yeah, should be good. Should we just get to questions then?
Let's do it.
I'm going to ask you the first question and in classic fashion, I'm going to go for a toilet break. So... Felicio, have you got it up? 1-1.
Yep.
asks advice on what to do when progress stalls on a particular lift. X curl, example, curl 100 times 12 for 3 weeks straight, but I can't seem to get that 13th rep.
Okay. So I think one thing which we've spoken about before in the past is, particularly as it pertains to hypertrophy, sometimes there's nothing wrong with matching performance, because matching performance, you're still creating that stimulus for hypertrophy. So don't worry if, like, there's nothing wrong if you're matching performance first and foremost. Also, it might just take a little bit of time for the adaptation processes to occur. So, hey, if you've been, so you said you're curling the same reps for 3 weeks straight. If it was continuing, I think you could either, I think just kind of making a change. If it's been 3 weeks and you kind of feel like, hey, it's getting mentally burdensome to just match performance all the time, hey, you could either just change the rep range slightly, so either lowering the weight, increasing the reps, or vice versa. Just, you could even up the load a little bit, take a little bit of drop in reps a little bit, just change things up a little bit. Or you could even, if you wanted to, if you're using the example of a curl, which is more of an isolation movement, again, we can substitute movements a little bit more frequently. So again, just trying a different variation, it could just provide that slight change, which when you come back to it, allows you to progress a little bit more. So I guess those would be my initial thoughts.
Don't think I really have anything to add to that. It's as you said, I think we've talked about kind of matching performance previously, and it's not a sign that something's wrong. It's just when you do become quite well trained and you've been doing a movement for an extended period of time, you can't expect to linearly see progress in performance. And so it's not necessarily bad to be plateaued. It's just you got to wait for the adaptation to take place. And it just takes quite a long time if you were to speak to, for anyone who's been training like a decade, to add like a rep to your lateral raise. That in theory could take months. So like a curl here, 3 weeks of the same, it's really not that big deal, especially if it's a movement you've been doing a while. So it's like you said, Mike, if it is becoming psychologically just like, then yeah, you can rotate it, but not a need for it. I said I wasn't going to add anything, and then I just repeated what you said, Mike.
But in a different way, so it might resonate with a lot of people. And one thing that was a big lesson for me that I tell a lot of people is this is also another big reason not to get greedy or too assertive with your progressions early doors, because if you make big jumps in your progressions and you just hit a wall and then you've got to just maintain that wall for weeks on end, whereas if you'd have just been a little bit slower, every week you're just a little bit of progress, and it's just that little bit better, and you in the background those adaptations are occurring as well. So again, just another reason to be a little bit more steady.
Psychologically, that's much more rewarding too.
Definitely. Next question. So, and also, this might not be appropriate because it's for me particularly. So it's by Barnaby B10. So he says, Mike, have you experienced the golfer's elbow before? Is the treatment just finding alternative lifts to do while healing? So good question.
And Mike, the reason I was gonna sorry to butt in.
Yeah.
Literally, this is what I suffered with just not that long ago. And I think we spoke about everything that we did. So I was like, Barnaby, you need to re-listen to the previous episodes. Unfortunately, though, I've had people ask questions where I'm like, I know we've covered that in the improvement season, but I can't find the exact episode. So you can do like a quick recap because you'll give a better answer than I can.
It was quite a few episodes ago, I think, because I think it was even before your knee pain. So we're probably talking a good
it's been a while
month
ago
or so.
Yeah.
And are you having any problems with your elbow anymore, by the way?
No, both elbows were having issues. Neither elbows are having issues anymore. It's been a while since they've had anything, yeah.
Amazing. But in answer to Barnaby's question, modifying one's training is a big component of that, for sure. Depending on how long the problem has been around for, and if there's an indication for it, then you could do some direct loading. So things like isometrics, some targeted wrist flexor extensor work. Sometimes that has been shown to be beneficial, but that's more in populations where maybe there's a weakness or they need a little bit more strength kind of to it. But that's something that you can do. But that honestly, by and large, that is the majority of it. Everything else that you probably hear is more adjunctive type treatments as opposed to, actual things that will improve it. So, you see things like, you've got those bands or those offload straps that you can wear and stuff like that. Think of those as more adjuncts and things that are modifying the symptoms, modifying it, rather than actually solving the issue itself.
Yeah, for me, it was just finding movements that are like the ones I was doing, but weren't causing as much discomfort and pain. And I've used those, and now I have no pain. So it's been great.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Next question is from Colin JT1. Recommendations for a lifting belt for bodybuilding. Looking for something to aid with bracing for squats and RDLs, but not too bulky.
Oh, good question. Now, I don't have a specific brand recommendation as such, but I think something which you consider is for bodybuilding, you don't need like a heavy powerlifting belt. Even something that's a little bit softer can be useful for you to brace against. But I don't actually have a specific. I'm going to be a bit useless here. I don't have specific brand recommendations as such. I would just say it doesn't need to be a heavy powerlifting belt.
Yeah, I think not having brand recommendations is fine. It's similar to like a lifting shoe. There's going to be a certain shoe, like some people might prefer the Addy Powers, some people might prefer the Romelio, there's other brands that you can try. The principle applies of like, it just needs to fit your foot well, have a good kind of grippy sole, and have a decent heel lift for you. Anyway, same applies here really with the belt. And my main recommendation for a bodybuilding belt is that it isn't too thick. So I have I think I have a 13 millimeter lever belt. Oh, not lever, Inza belt, buckle one. And I haven't used that for years now because actually I got gifted a really nice, like, thin belt. And I think thinner ones, I don't think you have to go thin, but I like the thinner ones with a bit, maybe less support, because I think sometimes some of the powerlifting gear that bodybuilders use could be used slightly inappropriately, in that they become kind of crutches and they allow you to use loads maybe your body isn't really adapt to using, for example, like knee sleeves. I tried to put on, because when my knee was bothering me, and they're still maybe getting there, they might be back. But anyway, I was going to try and put on my SBD knee sleeves. I couldn't put them on. I was like, these are too tight. Like I literally couldn't pull them up. Like they're medium SBD knee sleeves, I think. And I was like, man, when I was using these, they must have been giving me just like, because they're quite thick too, the amount of rebound that they must give you anyway. So I think similarly, if your belt's really thick, it could maybe provide more support than what a bodybuilder really ideally wants. And also, I think sometimes the thicker ones or tighter ones or what have you, they can end up being hard to breathe with. I used to recommend getting a belt that was the same kind of width all the way around. So you'll see there's like deadlift belts that are thinner at the front and then they're bigger at the back. And actually, I quite like the one I have is thinner at the front and bigger at the back. I quite like it because it does just allow me to breathe easier during sets. So I find the big kind of powerlifting style ones can make breathing a little bit more challenging and difficult. So, which obviously for a powerlifter, they're generally doing like up to a set of 10 at most, and generally maybe below that, especially for their kind of power lifts and when they're peaking and things. So yeah, my main recommendation is don't go too thick, don't go too big and bulky. There's actually some decent Velcro ones you can get from like, I think it's called like Rareband or Reherband or something. And you can get literally a Velcro one that work pretty damn well. But yeah, there's no like musts for belts for bodybuilding. In fact, a lot of bodybuilders don't even worry about using one. I particularly benefit from it because I have a long torso. But I think there's, like, you might use yours for a lot of your compound lifts and see benefit. In fact, you're using it for leg press. I don't know if you're still doing that.
No, I'm not doing that anymore. But I use it for just, the main compounds, kind of like stiff-legged deadlift, pendulums. But I would say those are the main things that I use it for now.
Do you use it for your split squats when you were doing them? Because you were for a
Um,
time.
I was for a time when the reps were lower, but then when they started to creep above, because like you said, when it got to about, I'd get to 14 or 15, and then it became pretty useless, to be honest with you, because I was
Yeah.
just like, I'm just breathing too heavy now. But when it was around sort of 10, 11, it still, for me, it was still useful.
Interesting. Yeah, I tried it for my split squats and I just didn't like it at all. It just took me out of the lift. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any more recommendations outside of that either.
Yeah. I think also just one final reflection on that. I think for me as well, what it helped with is just cueing me to be a little bit more aggressive with my concentric, which sometimes is I forget about. I get a little bit too analytical and I just need to be a bit more aggressive. And it just prompted me to push a little bit harder from the get go. So as a learning tool, I think it was useful in that regard.
Interesting.
But I think that's better now. So I do it
Cool.
less. But
Nice.
yeah. Right.
Next question.
So the next question is from Nicola JWT, who asks, do you have any idea why Bulgarian split squats are rarely performed in the Smith machine?
Funny we were just talking about split squats because both of us are performing them in the Smith machine. In
Literally,
fact,
yeah.
when I saw this question, I was like, are they not? Like at least with my programming, very often say do it in the Smith machine because yeah, probably the reason you're asking is because the stability component is like really, really good in the Smith machine because you don't have to worry about like holding dumbbells and there's a bit more balance involved. So, no, they are very often, and I currently do. And so, yeah, I think if I was to try and answer this in a different way, I think traditions hold strong. So, like, traditionally, it was a dumbbell and people do them that way. But I think a lot of people are now using the Smith machine. And the Smith machine for a time when like functional lifting was a big craze and it was, people were like, thought it was something and they were like, oh, Smith machines aren't functional. It's like, what do you mean? Like, people have realized that's just like a bullshit term that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. I think, and what you said about traditions hold strong, I still see a lot that people do Bulgarian split squats not holding on to anything. And I just think, like, oh, it could, in my head, I'm just like, that could just feel a lot better. You could do a lot better if it were just doing that slightly differently. But again, I think tradition's a strong thing.
Bulgarian split squats are hard enough, let alone then trying to coordinate your balance on them. Like, eesh. Yeah, I don't enjoy that one.
Bulgarians were
Right.
brutal.
Ask for Ali asks, is Creapure worth it as opposed to regular creatine monohydrate, or is it a sham, assuming both are third-party tested?
So I can't remember what it is. So Creapure is like a patented, you know what I mean, patented form of creatine. And the majority of the research, as far as I'm aware, has been done on creatine monohydrate. And even though I think Creapure, um, might be efficacious, I don't think it's superior to creatine monohydrate as far as I'm aware from the evidence. I think just you're fine just going for regular creatine monohydrate, I think.
From my understanding, Creapure is third-party tested creatine monohydrate. So they're the same thing. It's just Creapure is confirmed to be a creatine monohydrate. From my understanding, that's what it is. So
Yeah.
it's a bit confusing the way Ali's asked it. But I think the broader question is, do we need to worry about getting that supplement third-party tested? And I trust Greg Potter a lot with supplements and this sort of thing. He's pretty careful about his recommendations. And last I spoke to him, he was like, he used to recommend getting Creapure, but now he's just like, hey, I think everyone's just fine getting creatine monohydrate. All I will say, Ali, is don't get the gummies because current affairs, the gummies have been found, a lot of them, to have F all creatine in them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a huge thing on that recently. So if people are doing creatine gummies, yours might not have any creatine in, unfortunately. So you might be better off doing the powder. But yeah, I don't worry about getting Creapure.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. So Remy Sarker asks, long time fan, first time hopping on. Question: top 5 ice cream flavors, can be specific, such as Ben and Jerry's Dolce Delish, etc.
You know why I'm laughing, Mike?
Because they're 2 different flavors.
No, because vanilla is your favorite flavor. I shouldn't have said anything. I should have waited for you to do it. And if you didn't say vanilla, I'd be like, what? Where is vanilla? So for those that don't know, we had a big it was just a fun chat really, where I was just taking the piss out of Mike because it came up somehow, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? We're eating ice cream and you said vanilla, and then I was like, what, Mike?
Yeah,
How can vanilla be your favorite? That makes no sense. Oh, that was the meal after WNBF Worlds, wasn't it, where we were with like Alberto Nunez and Dan and Andrew.
And I don't know if he said it, but DC Hyperstrength supported me on this one. And I think also Alberto supported me on this as well. They both did.
I think they felt bad for you, Mike.
Well, Dan definitely didn't feel sorry for me. He was definitely on my side. Alberto maybe, I don't know. But there was strong support.
I'm going to say the hypocrisy here is we literally went for ice cream after this. And did Mike get vanilla? No, he didn't.
No. and it was the best ice. Well, and do you know what? I can't even remember what I got now. Something like cookies and cream or something.
Something actually good.
Yes, yeah, probably. That was genuinely, to my memory, the best ice cream I've ever had. So I probably can't claim vanilla as my best flavor now. I don't know if that was my best experience.
Actually, this is another question that I'm going to get further dig into. The Ninja Creamy that you make every night, what flavor's that?
Ooh, so, well, I've got different variations of the recipe now because I've got different whey isolates. None of them are vanilla. So
perfect. So much for your favorite flavor.
Yeah, it is massive hypocrisy, isn't it? So do you know what? I've been meaning to say this for a long time. I got whey protein pistachio ice cream flavor. Oh, it is so good. And I do that with
bulk
almond
powders.
milk. Pardon?
Or not bulk. Is it bulk powders?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that one.
Oh, so good. So good. So I have that with almond milk banana, and it's great.
You're doing whey isolate?
No. It's
I thought you said isolate.
Yeah, no, sorry. It's just regular protein, whey protein.
So let's actually go over your top 5 ice cream flavors.
So I would say, I'm so bad at this.
When was the last time you had ice cream out, Mike?
In New York, probably.
When was the last time you bought ice cream, Mike? Before New York.
that's okay. No, so that's a lie. Okay, Halo Top. I did buy some Halo Top at some point. I can't remember.
That was before New York, though, right?
Yeah. So, and that was, what did I get? I just mixed the flavors. So I'd have like the chocolate one, the honey one, and I can't remember.
Those honey.
Yeah. So, and there's some other ones as well. The cookies and cream one. They were all good. Oh, right. Okay. Right. So this is stimulating my memory now. A flavor of ice cream that I do like was Ben & Jerry's peanut buttercup flavor. I do like that with the peanut buttercup chunks in them. That is a good one for me. I like that.
What about fish food?
Fish food's all right.
I like fish food.
I'm not sure if I'd rank it top, but it's up there. I just like the oh God, like the just the standard cookies and cream with the cookie dough one. Probably
cookie
the
dough's
half
great.
and half. The half and half chocolate and cookie dough.
Cookie dough might be my favorite ice cream, and which is funny because it's mostly because of the cookie dough, not the ice cream. But it's the combination. That's the last time I had ice cream out. Was I had cookie dough. Me and Charlotte went out for a meal, and it is a long time ago. Actually, well, it's this year, so not as long as you, Mike. But we went. I got a cookie dough with salted vanilla something with cookie dough. It was unreal combination. It was so good. I can't remember what it's called. It's a chain of ice cream place in London, but it was very good. The best
Mm.
I've had though is definitely the times of which me and Charlotte have gone to Italy, which a couple of times maybe. We've been to Rome and Naples. The why have I forgotten what it's called? Gelato. That's the word. For some reason, gelato was not on my tongue. That was unreal. Gelato in like Naples and Rome, and yeah, Nutella would be my go-to there generally. Just so damn good. Can't beat it.
Does gelato stay for a little bit longer so you can kind of enjoy it a bit more, or does it melt quickly?
I always get this wrong. I think it does melt more slowly. I think it has a lower fat content than ice cream because but gelato I don't think has as much cream in it. So the fat content's a bit lower, which I think does mean it doesn't melt as fast.
Mm.
I think that's right. But yeah, it's just the texture I prefer it. And that's why when I make a Ninja Creamy, and people would have got, I release my my go-to recipe
Yeah.
that I make every night basically. It's thick. Like I don't like a very creamy like ice cream. I actually like it thicker versus more runny, and I think that's more gelato like.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't have a top 5 to give, unfortunately, Remy. Some sort of I think we're both on the cookie dough
Yeah.
bandwagon. I do like something that's like got a good base and then got some chunks in it. That's like really good. But I don't like an overwhelming amount of different flavors going on. I want to
Mm.
know what I'm getting from it. So, and sometimes the like rogue flavors can get you, like an apple strudel or something. I've had stuff like that, and I'm just like, whoa, like that is so apple strudel. That's great.
Yeah.
But I'd never pick strawberry. For me, Mike, is my least, like strawberry ice cream, strawberry like
Sure.
chocolate stuff. I'm just like, I've got
Mm.
some strawberry whey, and I'm just like, man, I really don't like this.
I'm
I
totally
don't
with
not
you on
like
that
it,
one.
but I just wouldn't pick it.
I think, yeah, I'm totally with you on that one. That's the flavor that I pick the least in any category, whether it's ice cream, whey protein. I just like, nah. I don't know what it is.
Mike, I've got your weekend sorted. You're going to go out for a coffee, you're going to go get some ice cream, and you're going to have a pizza on Sunday or whenever not the barbecue day.
This is it.
Or spread it over several weekends, then you don't have to do it all in one.
I'm so easy. I just need to, yeah, I need to do it. That's it.
You just get so locked into your routine. I'm the same, Mike. Like if you were to check, I imagine yours is even more consistent than mine, but my Fitness Pal, like if you looked at it day to day, it kind of, you'd be like, you haven't really eaten this way, like since like however long. It's like, no, I have. Like literally that's all I'm eating. I just get
If
so
you,
locked in.
my Fitness Pal is so easy for me because I just literally go copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. It's easy. There
Yeah.
might be some like very subtle tweaks, which for me is all I need. Like I might just be like, rather than green beans, I had frozen broccoli. But otherwise, it's like, pretty much the same.
Random, but frozen broccoli sucks, doesn't it?
So bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
Green beans are frozen are good.
Yeah.
They're all
I
right.
don't. If I had the choice, I would always get fresh broccoli over frozen broccoli. But it's just sometimes it just doesn't last. And when I'm sort of in the clinic and not at home the whole time, it just perishes quite quickly sometimes. So
It's funny. I have my go-to veggies, and I can't believe I've literally eaten like the same sort of vegetables for the last like decade or ever since I've been eating vegetables, because I'm just like, they're the ones that I can just eat raw in like a salad. I don't have to worry about prep and everything. So anyway, I'm rambling here. Let's go to a new question.
it was a great tangent.
Yeah. Lifting Lewis 5 asks, how's Mike getting on now with the creamy, given it's been a few months? I don't know if there was any more updates from what you just said there.
Well, I think I'm making progress. I think I've got the xanthan gum was a really helpful game changer that you recommended. So that has really, really helped. I haven't used the combination of xanthan gum and guar gum yet, but I need to get that. But otherwise, I think I've made progress. I've kind of got my little set, flavor. I've got my like banana base, the xanthan gum, bit of Zolt and sweetener, and I went through a phase of doing almond milk and a little bit of yogurt with a bit of protein, but now I kind of just stick with like almond milk and whatever whey protein flavor that I go with at the moment. And the pistachio flavor is just like top tier for me at the moment.
So unfortunately, they don't have like a pistachio flavored sweetener that you can add to it.
Mm.
That would be helpful, because quite often the whey flavors or the flavor of the protein powder you're using isn't powerful enough, so you have to sweeten it on top. But then that's the overwhelming flavor, is the sweetener you use, and sometimes those Flav drops or whatever you're using aren't as good as actually the flavor from the whey or what have you. But I do find the pistachio one hangs around a little bit. You do taste it.
It is a stronger. It has got a tiny bit more strength to it, so
Yeah.
it's not too bad. But yeah, it's gradually progressing.
Have you tried dairy milk over cow's milk over
I
almond?
did I did first, but it's probably been too long. I haven't had like a direct comparison in a short space of time, so I can't remember what it tastes like.
I found the almond milk because I used some almond milk, just like the lowest calorie one, just to try it. And I found it to be more icy than when I
Mm,
used dairy. And I found the dairy milk was worth it. But yeah,
I'll
just
give
a
that a go.
mud. Yeah.
Ah, I'll give it a go this weekend. I'll update my shopping list.
Right.
Let's go.
The next one is yours.
So, Aurora.Matteson asks, overrated or underrated or appropriately rated intensifiers like drop sets and rest pause sets?
My perspective is that they're appropriately rated. Reason being is, within at least the evidence-based space, most people, when they talk about them, they view them as a tool in the toolbox, but aren't anything special compared to just straight sets, and can be a useful way to get some additional volume of work, but there aren't any inherent magical or different benefits to using that technique. Outside of the evidence-based space, I would say they're overrated vastly. And I could almost say in the evidence-based space, they could almost be underrated a little smidge, because I think some people, it's like, I don't know, nutrient timing doesn't matter, for example. That might be something you hear an evidence-based person say. And I think you can make an argument for it not mattering much, but in some circumstances, I do think it could help. And I do think there's something to some intensifiers for enjoyment, spice, maybe taking stuff to a new level of intensity that you haven't pushed to before, that could allow someone to just put it in these horrible terms, unlock some new gains. But yeah, I answered from every angle there, Mike.
I know. I was going to say, I don't have anything to add here. But I will clip onto that last little note that you made. A big sort of memory that I have is when we were in New York, and we were having that leg session, and we did that giant set on the sissy squats. Like that kind of, I think that's a great example of where it can just get you to focus and get you to maybe just, not that, get you to kind of just get to that new intensity if you feel like you've lost your mojo or something from an intensity perspective. Just like shit test yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I think they're a nice little spice to add in now and then, just for something different and a little bit novel that doesn't harm anything and could have some potential benefit. So I certainly wouldn't not use them ever, but they certainly shouldn't be the core of your program. And there could be some instances that are really helpful, like they could save some time if you were to do some myo reps or myo match or something like that for areas where there's quite a lot of volume needed, but you haven't got the time for it. So yes, that was a fun giant set that we did in New York. That was mega. We probably bit off a bit more than we intended.
It was wild. It was absolutely mad, but it was great. It was amazing.
So Barnaby Stanton asks, Steve, what do you reckon your deadlift 1 rep max might be at the moment? 200 RDLs are no joke. So thank you, Barnaby. So yeah, for context, I think I finished my mesocycle with 200 kilograms for 9 was my best performance. I don't know if I got it for 10. I can't actually remember. I could actually, can I bring it up ever so quickly? I've got my training spreadsheet here, and I finished my mesocycle I did 202.5 for 8, but I got 200 for 9. 8 was my best. And that's after doing like a whole leg session before it. So a lot of volume before it. So I could actually probably, I don't know how much more I could get from it. 10% would maybe be a bit much, like 220, but I certainly think I could get like 210 for 10, maybe even. So the best I've ever deadlifted off the floor was 230 for 3, and that was sumo. And that was close to a decade ago. So I don't know I should have plugged this into like a 1 rep max calculator or something. I wouldn't be surprised if I could do 250, something like that. I don't think would be out of whack for me. I don't know if you have any thoughts where you think my 1 rep max would be, but it's been so long since I've done such a thing. But if I trained and peaked for it, I reckon 250, that feels like it should be reasonable.
Yeah. I was thinking about that, and that's the thought that crossed through my head is you just need a little bit of time to almost practice the 1 rep max, if that makes sense a little bit. But I think if you had like a tiny bit of time just to do that, I think it sounds very reasonable for that to be in your wheelhouse.
And I have good mechanics for deadlifting because I'm like a crane with my long torso and then shorter legs. It works in my favor that way, which is why I'm probably also not a strong bencher at all. My bench is by far my weakest link from the big three, which I wouldn't make a good powerlifter for that reason. I'll ask you the next question, Mike, because that one was really me.
Yeah.
So RS_strength413 asks, when taking a new competitor to stage, what can a typical peak week look like? More lean competitor versus a competitor that could be leaner?
I think we've answered this in various guises in the past, but I think when the main thing, I guess, is that if you've got a more lean competitor, is you can probably be a little bit more assertive, the chances are that you could probably be a little bit more assertive depending on the individual and with their assessment in terms of increasing their carbohydrate intake potentially. And likewise, similar with a competitor who's not as lean or could be leaner, depending on the degree, it's like, hey, they might not even need a peak week at all. But if they still might benefit from a peak week, then it just might mean that, hey, you don't really need to be assertive at all. Just maybe a little bit of a bump up just to kind of help with that slight fullness, maybe just energy levels, mentally, physically, etc. But other than that, that would be the biggest difference and the biggest thing when it comes to peak week.
Yeah, I don't know if the context of it being a new competitor really makes any difference. Like, it's whether someone is lean enough or not to really benefit from a peak week. And so it's exactly as you said, Mike. If they're not lean enough, then you need to use the majority of that peak week to get them leaner. But I will say, you just don't want to dig someone into the ground, because you can look leaner by being fuller and not as flat and holding on to less inflammation. But I'd probably save that to a couple of days before the show, so you can use a good period of time in that week to continue to drop fat, because you could probably still not drop like a pound of fat within the first like half of that week or so, which could be really visually apparent. But as you said, you still want to remove some fatigue, so maybe a slight bump in food and a slight drop in activity, a slight deload in training is probably smart for that person. And then as someone's leaner, the more glycogen that they have the potential to be able to store without spilling over. And therefore you have the benefit of potentially being able to use the entire week, or even potentially more than a week in some circumstances if someone's already stage ready. And therefore your kind of range of different peaking strategies opens up much more. Whereas when someone isn't lean enough, again, it's a question of, do they really even need much of a peak week? Probably not, which is why using an approach that you might use for someone going through like a photo shoot often works quite well. Like, they don't need serious peak weeks. They just need to drop some stress, rejuvenate a little bit, get some fullness back. But any bit of spillage is just going to make them look so much worse, because that's added on top of the body fat that they needed to lose for stage. So yeah, I think you answered the question well, and I basically repeated what you said again.
No, you didn't. You actually said it in a much more informative way. So you nailed it. But Patrick Morris asks, have recently added Smith good mornings, and I've seen Steve just put them in. Any tips with them? Foot placement, range of movement, etc.
So I think there's just some basics you want to get right with the Smith Good Morning. You want your feet somewhat under you. You want to be somewhat shoulder width apart, probably have your toes slightly pointing out, knees traveling over those. And actually, my biggest tip would be to approach it like your stance, everything almost like an RDL. So a similar stance what you'd have on your RDL will work just fine. And then the mechanics are just like an RDL. You just push your hips back. However, what I would play around with is, because you're in the Smith machine, you don't have to worry so much about balance. So you can use that to your advantage. Just like when you do Smith squats, you don't have to have your feet right under you, splitting the bar in two. You can have your feet slightly ahead of you, and that can allow you to put the load slightly more over your quads and make it a bit more quad bias. So you can do similarly with the good mornings, where you don't have to have them directly under you, your feet. You can have them even slightly back, and therefore you can shift just the bias and the loading a little bit more to your posterior chain. But there is a balance there. Just like if you have your feet too far forward on the Smith squat, suddenly you actually can't get that much knee flexion, and it's just hip flex. Like there's tons of hip flexion going on, and you have a very like vertical shin angle. That'd be no good. Similarly here, you can't put your feet so far back. There becomes a point where it's uncomfortable. So you just have to find your footing. And I think it will be similar to like splitting the bar in two / having them potentially slightly behind you, especially slightly behind you if the Smith machine is angled. And I would push your hips back into the angle. So just like you would squat down into the angle, so the angle, you're squatting with the angle, so the load travels over your quads, you'd want the load to travel over your glutes. So as you push back, the load is traveling that way, not like forward. That just will be terrible. I think that's my biggest tips with the good morning on the Smith machine. I don't think there's anything else that comes to mind. I don't know if anything comes to your mind for you, Mike, because you're obviously doing good mornings at the moment, but I don't know if you've done them in a Smith before.
I have. I've kind of toyed with it. I think my biggest add-on to that is everyone's going to have to tweak it slightly based on their anthropometrics, because I think my setup might be slightly different to yours, because I've got like, my build is a tiny bit different. But I would say that I'm using a safety bar at the moment, and it feels better than a Smith machine for me. So it's infinitely better. It's the best good mornings I've ever felt. So I would suggest to people that if your gym does have a good safety bar, give it a go. I think it just feels really comfortable. But coming back to the Smith machine,
Mike, just quickly on that, sorry. It's so interesting you said that our like build and everything's different, and therefore it's different, because my gym has a safety bar, and I tried good mornings and I hate them.
Oh,
it might be the specific bar we have though, because it's like Smith machines vary, so do safety bars. So it could just be that your safety bar's better, if that's the word I can use. Anyway, continue.
No, it's so it's a Prime Strength safety bar. I think Prime Strength is quite a good brand.
I think ours is Strength Shop.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't like it. I've tried squatting with it. I've tried good mornings with it. I'm just like,
Yeah. There you go.
Not
So again, anthropometrics, different, movement patterns, builds, etc. Big one. So I think, and coming to just anecdotal points as well, I remember for me, a big thing that helped me with the Smith machine was having a slightly lower bar placement on my shoulders rather than it being high. But exactly what you said about aligning yourself with the bar path, I think those were the two biggest things that helped me the most with the Smith machine.
Yeah, having some people try and do high bar with it, and for me that's always been terrible. It increases the moment arm on the back and the erectors, and that already works so heavily in a good morning. I think reducing that moment arm helps make it a bit more hamstring and glute bias, which is what you're trying to jet for most people trying to train. But I am liking having the good morning in at the moment, because I do get some erectors, and I'm not doing any bent over rowing at the moment on purpose, because I know I've got the good morning in there, and I'm going to do a straight leg deadlift variant. So it's quite nice having that little just adjunct. And the other benefit in the Smith machine is it's so easy, just like go into a Smith machine. There's no fucking around. Like loading plates is super easy. Generally, you don't need as much load. So it's quite nice just to like jump in there versus other lifts, or other hip hinges.
Definitely. That's it. That's all I've got for that one.
Last question. Great timing. And it is from Progress Forwards. Thoughts on Lord Farquaad's hypertrophy program? Mike, do you know who Lord Farquaad is?
No.
Oh, Mike, you disappoint me so much.
What, the
You're
guy
gonna laugh
from
when you Google Lord Farquaad.
the guy from Shrek?
Yes, you do
Oh,
know.
yeah. I thought that it was talking about some fitness
No,
influencer who
he's taking
calls
the piss.
himself.
He must
Oh.
be.
Well, obviously, Lord Farquaad's hypertrophy program is suboptimal.
I'm glad you actually know who Lord Farquaad is. That's good.
Yeah.
Yes, he just has he has a good hypertrophy program for his head. He's
True.
a massive head, right? But that's the rest of his body is pretty small from memory.
Mm,
He's good at head of hair though.
it's decent. It's quite voluminous and just
Yeah,
like, but yeah, bit suboptimal, I think, unfortunately. He needs a
Lord
bit more protein.
Farquaad. Man, how many Shreks are there now? Is there like 4 or something stupid? Like, oh my gosh, there's too many.
That Shrek is an example of what frustrates me about you should have just stopped at 2 or maybe 3. Stop. Same with Toy Story. Stop. Stop it.
But you could also argue Dragon Ball.
Yes.
Yeah,
True.
should they have stopped after Super? Probably. Or
Yeah.
even after Z, some would argue.
Yeah, yeah, genuinely. Oh, man, even in Super, I was just with what they did with Goku and how he became dumb. I was just like, oh,
And
why? Why are you
Vegeta, right?
doing? Yeah, I was just like, why?
Made him so soft.
So why are you doing this? It's just like it's like seeing your idolized sporting hero just gradually fade into nothing. You're just like, why? Stop. Go home.
I get why they might though. Like a Ronaldo, right? He's like, I still look at him as like the best because he was the best when we were growing up. Whereas now, actually, he's really not the best anymore. But I still kind of put him in that light. Cool, we made it through all the questions. How amazing! We've done that 2 weeks in a row. Well, however many weeks in a row now, guys. As a reminder for questions, Hypertrophic Time Chamber is linked in the description if you do want to join and ask questions. I put in a question box every single week. It is my broadcast group on Instagram. You can find it linked in my bio, or again, it's linked in the description. Please do ask there. Otherwise, you can ask in the comments or directly message me or Mike. No one ever does that though, so ask in the Hypertrophic Time Chamber. And as a reminder, we're online coaches, so this is what we do. We help people with their training nutrition, whether that's getting to stage for the first time or going for their pro card or doing a photo shoot or just trying to be their biggest and leanest self. I had a client just recently sign up and she was just like, my goal is just to be my biggest, most muscular self, Steve. That's just what I want. I was like, that's totally cool with me. Let's do this thing. So anyone who is looking to take this seriously and get more from their efforts, that's who we want to help. Anything else to add, Mike? Subscribe, like, comment?
Share.
We'll probably do this all too late. All the people listening now are like genuinely incredibly loyal listeners who are like, you say this every time. I hear it every time. We need to like somehow edit this and put it in the middle of the podcast.
We need to spread the word, but spread the word then. Spread the word. Tell her how amazing the improvement season is and we'll be forever grateful.
And any lurkers who are listening, and they listen every week, just like, who was it who asked the question, Remy? Let us know in the comments that you're listening. It's great to know that we're reaching certain ears, and I don't know, there might be people we know listening that we had no idea are. It's always nice to know that you're listening. You can even just DM me on Mike and say you enjoy the show or you hate it and you're listening despite that. Anyway, I'll leave this here. I'm just rambling.
Indeed, but I get the same thing from clients. Like, I was listening to you on the improvement season. I'm like, oh, tell us about it. Tell us about it.
A lot of my clients do listen. They do talk about the fact they're like, oh, you said this, and it's always nice that they do that.
Yeah, but just share it and tell us what you like, what you don't like. If you want to hear more of something, less of something, we're always game for that. So yeah, share the love, spread the word.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
See you later. See you next week.